Yes, the title is somehow real. I genuinely believe some of the bad art in my game is a net positive. In this video, I'll explain the different ways bad art can be used in a game as a positive and pitfalls to avoid in order to not let the bad art ruin your game. It's important to note that yes, I do try with the art I make and I like the sprites I make, but I'm well aware that it isn't great by any means. This is my current project I just started and I'm still using MS Paint for these animations. Speaking of MS Paint, let's get on to the first way. Making the bad art a necessity for the game. This game here only has static graphics. And here are some of the graphics the player gets to see. The quality doesn't massively change, yet these comments seem to suggest that the art deserves a pass. Why? Because the whole narrative of the game is the narrator realizing the game sucks, and that no matter what options you choose, it leads to the same outcome. This game wasn't an easy thing to pull off, as acknowledged by some comments, but it does go to show that if the whole point of the game is that it's bad, then the art being bad can add to the game. There is also the strategy of having a game that has art that can't be messed up. This game here is a tutorial on how to press the A button. The only assets, squares representing keys on a keyboard and circles representing a button. Minimalism can be a deliberate design choice, but depending on the game it may feel like an arbitrary decision which can lead to negative sentiment from users if they think it arrived due to laziness. So whilst it is a useful tool, it is worth being mindful of it. This leads to one of the main pitfalls, reference points. If you're going for an ultra realistic high fidelity art style, failing to meet the expectations will be painfully obvious. Now take a look at this guy. This guy looks funny and the animations are odd to say the least, but no one is ever going to think to compare it to an ultra realistic art style or any art style. Because of the lack of comparison to other things, and it being clear as to what things in the game generally is, no one really thinks much of the art after a bit. The distinction in the art not only avoids comparison from better art, but also makes it memorable and easily recognizable, which is partially why you're more likely to recognize this sprite compared to this sprite, even though both were previously in the video. Before I get to the final point, it is important to mention another pitfall: marketing style. I am in no position to tell people how to market their games. Just look at the wishlist count for a game released nearly a year ago. However, if your game is going to have a bad art style, a stereotypical game trailer may not be very appealing. If you look at any of my trailers, you will likely ignore the bad art due to how dumb the trailer is. It's still important to show off the game and make it intriguing, but there's a lot of flexibility, and having a style of trailer designed to show off good art style might not be great for a game with bad art style. As for the final point, I am not exaggerating when saying that the bad art in this game made it significantly better. Not just in how it looks, but in how it plays. This game was my first attempt at actual pixel art, which means bad art is usually more punishing. I realized very quickly I didn't know how to make a walking animation, so I did whatever this is. And I also made this animation for whenever you flip gravity. But that's not the important part. I knew I had no idea how to make a jumping animation, so I decided to make the player just extend his arm. Because of how long the animation is, it takes 0.8 seconds for the frame where the player jumps to occur. Yes, this is the point in the video where I tell you a 0.8 second delay for jumping made my game fun. Unlike jumping, it would make sense that a player could punch in the air, but only move upwards if they are on the ground when the punch connects. So I added it. I then realized the obvious. If you land on the ground on the frame when the arm is fully extended, you should be able to jump higher due to momentum or something. So I added it. I also made it so that if you do this pogo jump on a spike jump, you don't take damage. The main focus of this game wasn't even to do with this puzzle jumping, but it allowed for interesting level design, and I eventually stole the character for a game that is planned to be released on Steam soon. And I'm not done with this guy. All of this due to having to accommodate very poor restrictions. So yeah, hope this video shows some of the potential ways to make bad art work well for games. If you're good at making game art, you could use bad art as a narrative still or something, but I ain't good enough to show how to do that. Either way, peace.